Namaskar. As I told you in the previous class, I'll definitely start with Mahatma Gandhiji's quote that happiness is when what you say, think and what you do are in harmony. Focus on this. Next important thing which I would like to share here is next time when you are going, especially to all the educators, the youngsters also, next time when you are entering a session, especially in a government school or a government college, please ask them what is the profession of their parents, especially ask them what is the occupation of their father. Most of the time people represent that, they don't feel proud about telling about their parents, profession. Especially they say it with a lot of, hush tones, low tones, that, my father is a farmer and this thing. So that is where here I request all of you to change the nomenclature and bring a lot of respect to their father's profession. I have been doing that and it has brought in a tremendous change in the people, especially the rural youth of India. How is it done? Simple. I ask them, what is the occupation of your father? If they say my father is a farmer, say sorry, no. You should say my father is an agriculturist. Give respect to your father's profession. If my father is, somebody, they say he's a cobbler, we should say he is a shoe designer. If they say my mother is a tailor, no, my mother is a fashion designer. It is up to you, the educators who are in the different parts of the country, please change the nomenclature. Now you will say, fine, my father is an auto driver. What should I say? My father is in the transportation business. Yes, my mother goes house to house as a maid servant. Don't call it as maid servant. Say home support staff. It is up to you. It was up to me. I said that really transformed a lot of youngsters, and especially studying in government schools, government colleges. If you don't respect your father's or mother's profession, what's the point? If you don't respect your own village, if you don't respect your own village's handicrafts, cuisines, then there is no point. Let us take pride in our Indian heritage. Let us take pride in our Indian culture. The vast unity in diversity. We should be proud about it. So that is where our rural management program under rural tourism of Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education comes in. Now let us see, what does this entire topic of rural tourism comprise of? We are going to explore, basically there are 5 chapters. Today we'll be exclusively discussing about the chapter number 1. First let us know what are the 5 chapters dealing with. The first chapter is about the countryside, a resource for tourism. The second chapter is the demand for rural tourism. Chapter number 3 is planning and managing rural tourism. Chapter number 4, marketing the countryside of tourism. Chapter number 5, the concept of sustainable and responsible rural tourism. Very, very important topics. So what does the chapter number 1, the countryside, a resource for tourism, say? When we are trying to talk about countryside tourism, we are saying about niche tourism products. Why do people want to visit rural areas? Because the urban area, the urban atmosphere is getting too cluttered, too crowded. There's a lot of negative energy that is flowing here. So get rid of that negative energies. People would like to visit rural areas, not only from India but from abroad also, from different foreign countries. They would like to go to the remote places, understand its culture, its food, everything. Basically, in one short sentence, I'll say they go there to seek mental peace, to far from the madding crowd, to get down from all that rush, hush, everything that's happening in all the urban areas. Just to have some few moments of tranquility, few moments with own themselves, quality time with the family and kids. That is why people are coming to the countryside. Here, when they are coming, the concept that has emerged is rural homestays. They would like to come to your village. Don't try to change because they have come. They would like to experience how you stay in your village. Definitely, please take care of them with certain basic issues which I would like to share here, especially regarding the mosquitoes part of it. You should have a mosquito net. Number one, please see that the safety aspect is nearest emergency hospital which is there, or an ambulance service which is there. Please have that number also with you. And most often what is reported is about, certain aspects of, some insect bites or something like that. So just have some cream or something like that. And especially if you are in a very rural homestays where there is, snake bites kind of a thing is issues there, please have the anti-venom vials also there in your nearest pharmacy stores. So because you have to take care of your guest, Atithi Devo Bhava. I keep repeating this, so kindly bear it with me. So we have to take care of your Atithi. Next important thing, which an informal survey made by me has revealed, that is when they come to the rural homestays, especially the foreign tourists, because when they have to use the washroom, so kindly employ the washrooms that you have got, the modern washrooms. So the toilet aspect is the hygiene and sanitation is very, very important. And not only that, the disposal of waste disposal. We got solid waste disposal and liquid waste disposal. So waste management is also very, very important. And the usage of plastic and other materials should be reduced to a lot. Because our village, if it starts getting the pollution of this plastic and other things, please understand, it impacts the entire tourism aspect. It will affect our business. How, what, let us know. So when people come and stay in your local homestays, they would like to see your handicrafts, local, once they come and visit, become a tourist guide. To become a tourist guide for your village what is there in it? You know your village better. You can take them around, take them with a lot of pride and say, this is my village, this is our handicraft, madam, this is our cuisine, taste it. So before you give them the taste, always make sure, give them a small sample of it, don't give them the full plate, because people tastes are different. Somebody for them the masalas of Indian side, it doesn't take it. So you have to give them always in small quantities. Ask them to taste it first. If they find it okay, then give them. But it is not mandatory they have to take it in full. They have to understand the local tradition, custom and culture also. So what are we trying to say here is, it creates a lot of local employment for the people, especially for the youngsters. And here, that is what I said in my previous session also, is the rural youth who are migrating to urban areas can be reduced to a lot of extent. I am not saying totally, lot of extent. I would like to share with you one important aspect. That important aspect is, when I visited a particular village called Solpura in very close to Guwahati, lot of seniors were there as part of an academic engagement from Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education. So we conduct regularly the rural immersion manuals, where we take the students and we visit the nearby villages there. When we visited those villages, especially a village called Solpura, lots of senior citizens were there. A lot of youngsters have migrated to urban areas, especially to Guwahati and as well as to Kolkata. The seniors who are there, they were afraid, they were feeling a bit low, saying that their tradition, their culture of the weaving of silks cloth, especially silk saris, that particular tradition will disappear over a period of time, because most of the youngsters are not taking to the traditional occupation, because definitely the cost of living has increased. Now the government of India is seeing that how best can we employ the youth in their own rural areas, so that it creates I am not saying you can match the kind of financial resource in the urban areas, but definitely if they are happy staying in their own village with a reasonable amount of money, they will definitely like to stay back. So this particular village, the elders which I was trying to share with you, they were feeling so low that the youngsters, next generation, will never know the kind of the weaving of the silk. So that's why, my dear friends, it is very important to focus on this rural tourism. So please take time to read these chapters and see these video lessons and take your own initiative to become a rural entrepreneur. Now coming to the academic part of it, what are the objectives in this lesson? We will be learning about the countryside, upon which you should be able to understand. One, what are the potentials of countryside as a resource for tourism? Next, what are the categories of rural tourism, which we have already discussed. I'll share it with you. Most important. Next, social cultural impacts of rural tourism, then the benefits of rural tourism, then rural tourism in the states of northeast of India. Travelers who are coming into the country, especially domestic or foreigners, they have got a lot of craving to know India in its totality. Because India, as we say, unity in diversity, it is very difficult to comprehend India east, in India in the west, India in the north, India in the south. So that is why they are fascinated by India. They would like to see how this country is united with so many languages, so many cultures, so many tribes, so many religions. Still we are one. That is the greatness and that is the beauty of this nation called Bharat. We got fantastic landscapes, beautiful mountains, beautiful hillsides. So that is where people are motivated to come and understand and see how people are living there, what kind of incomes they are generating. In case, who knows, one of the foreign tourists can take up lot of, this thing, they can take up a help to, help your native place too. Here, the rural tourism offers tourists an opportunity to get first-hand experience of farmland activities such as cultivation, sowing and harvesting. Agricultural practices are different in different parts of the globe. If somebody is coming from China, Japan, Israel is one of the most important partners. So when they are coming from these particular countries to explore about the farming activities, how we do our farming, how they do it in their farming, then comes the important aspect of handicrafts. If you go to any remote part of India, you got some handicrafts being done there, which we can, it's a skill to make that handicraft, skill development. Number thing is it's a very marketable entity there. This is a combination of beautiful, learning the skill, marketable entity, the products can be created and this is very unique to that particular area. So we need to understand this particular different aspects. Here I would like to share something about in northeast, especially in Meghalaya, Shillong, and definitely in most parts of the northeast also, is bamboo cultivation. How they make furniture products out of bamboos. Isn't it great to know? I am sure you know about it, but still I am sharing about the bamboo cultivation. That is very rich and they make furnitures out of it, and that furniture really stays long for more than 100 years. That's what they have claimed. The bamboo products that which they have created, the furniture products, is really too good. Now when we are doing all these things, what is our goal of this? When a tourist comes in, a foreign tourist or a domestic tourist comes into a village, what is happening? First thing, job creation. Next thing, stopping people migrating from the rural area to the urban area. Number 3, people are exposed to our handicrafts, our artisans, beautiful thing, the culture and tradition about our village. Next, all the combination of this thing is to reduce the poverty in the local area. Poverty elevation is a very crucial role through rural tourism. So rural tourism helps in alleviating poverty. Now, India has to, traditionally India has been marketed abroad from so many years as land of tigers, snakes, temples, elephants, maharajas. The time has come for us to change that, because there is so much of beauty lies in the different unseen places, untold venues of India, that you will be amazed to know about this. Now let me tell you about a place which is, we call it as a scientific odyssey. Optics, people who have studied optics in physics, you need to know this. Here I am going to share you about a particular temple called Chaya Someshwara temple in Nalgonda district in Telangana. This Chaya Someshwara temple is the Shiv Ling which is there, which is already there in the, not at the normal level, at the bottom. Then the entire sunrise throughout the year there is a shadow on the Shiv Ling. That is why it's called Chaya, shadow, Chaya Someshwara temple. And most of the physics, the scientists who have come there, they were amazed by this kind of optics that were there. If you find time, please visit that place, especially for the students of physics. It gives you a lot of insight into it. Like that, I'm just sharing one avenue. I'm sure there are so many things that is there in your own local area. Please bring it forward. Let us share these beautiful spots. Create what are the amazing things that is there. So we need to know all these particular aspects. If this really is implemented, rural tourism really takes shape in a very big way, definitely the lifestyle economy will grow, the lifestyle will change. People will definitely be, we can say that the particular kind of poverty which is there in that local area can, I am not say can be eliminated, it can be reduced, it can be phased out slowly. We can strengthen the rural economy. Now, different types of tourism, I would just like to share few points here which has been traditionally practiced. One is agricultural tourism, to explore more about the agricultural industry and about the crops. Cultural tourism, to allow tourists to be immersed in local cultural activities, rituals and festivals. Then nature tourism, biodiversity, roughly there are around 441 sanctuary parks which is available. Wildlife tourism is a very important aspect here. Adventure tourism, which I told you already, which is happening in all the places across the country. Adventure tourism is very important. Then definitely food routes. Food routes is where different cuisines come into the place. Here I would like to share something about cuisines which was shared by ex-registrar of Calcutta University. He shared a fantastic point which has remained with me from a very long time. He said our grandmother's cuisines is slowly getting phased out from the minds of the people. So it is our job, my dear friends, especially the youngsters, the cuisines of our grandmother which they beautifully teach you, which they have created, which they fed you also, please document it, maybe in a part of a YouTube video or other thing. Please that, cuisines, do not leave it. Our tradition, our food, our culture, our taste. So whatever our grandmother has taught us, please focus to revive it properly. That is my request to you. Then community ecotourism, where people travel in groups to understand, to protect the nature here. And if you are aware of it, I am sure you are aware of in northeast part of it, we have got this Hornbill festival, a particular bird that comes in, different types of birds that come in. The ornithologists, they flood the northeast areas, especially during this particular festival. So you have to understand that. So protecting this biodiversity of this great nation called India. Then ethnotourism, to expand the horizon of different cultures, it is essentially to know more about various ethnic and cultural lifestyle. This plays a crucial role in understanding the nation at its grassroots level. So that's why ethnotourism has to be tapped to a larger extent. And here I would like to say definitely at Utkal University in Odisha, they are tapping this to a large extent by the Vice Chancellor of that particular university. The countryside of rural resource for tourism. So I am sharing few points about what are the different aspects of it. The Kutch adventures in India, in state of Gujarat. So there is community tourism in Gujarat, in Kutch, that they say. The run of Kutch of Gujarat has got lot of artisan villages that is happening along with the salt desert. Yes, salt desert, entirely white. So you have to visit that salt desert in Kutch. Then farming in rural Punjab. The Punjab, you have known for its entire, typically in Hindi we say the kheti badi, the maximum number of farmers, they come in from there, giving the tourist state of various farming activities. Then we have got high altitude rural tourism. This visit to Buddhist monasteries, especially in the northeastern states, where His Holiness Dalai Lama visits regularly, Dharmashala. So all these places has got a lot of boost to Buddhist monasteries, and Government of India is also considering Buddhist tourism places. So that is also very, very important. It is already there, but we are going to develop in much bigger. So we have to focus on that also. So this is where our resource employment generation to our youngsters, to the women of that particular village, we'll have to focus on that. Now I'll just share one more point. It is located at this particular 8,500 feet against the backdrop of snow-capped peaks, glaciers and rock cliff mountains, a conifer and rhododendron forest. It is made accessible to tourists only few years back, and it is fresh, its beauty is totally virgin. It's the untapped, unspoiled freshness is there in this high altitude tourism also. Now here we are going to say why it benefits the particular rural tourism and rural women. Rural tourism can create long-term employment for providing skilled and unskilled training and career development for many women who cannot move out of their villages. They can stay in their place. It can providing the training opportunities, skilling opportunities for them. The respective state governments and the government of India has initiated skilling program for them too. Not only that, they have got the young agriculturist livelihood diversification programs. What happens in the rural areas mostly is the kind of minimum support price that doesn't come in at that time. So agricultural, financial, backwardness, that is also which is there. So that needs to be addressed. Then to address all these things, there are many medium and small scale entrepreneurs. So MSME that we say that has been started. The government of India has ushered in different schemes to support medium and small scale entrepreneurs also. Then apart from this, because with a lot of tourists who come into the place, so the most important thing is to protect that particular place also. We cannot flood them with the tourists. So nature conservation, that part of nature tourism is also very important. So all this combination of this which we are discussing, which we have discussed and we are going to discuss, is the focus is to remove poverty in rural areas. How? Through rural tourism. Now, the next topic that we are going to discuss is about socio-cultural impacts of rural tourism. What is this socio-cultural impacts of rural tourism? There are positive and negative outcomes depending on the human factors, including the attitude and behavior of the tourist and host during the interaction. Here, the responsibility lies with the tourist also, the responsibility lies with the host also. How you interact with the people, it is here the soft skills plays a key role in understanding different people, different culture, different tradition. That is where you have to develop very important thing which we call it as empathy, not sympathy. This is applicable. Empathy is applicable to all the tourists who are coming into India and the hosts who are from India. And wherever Indians also go to other places, please have that empathetic attitude. Say that yes, that is the local culture. I need to understand, I need to adapt and adopt if need be. So kindly, never ever, if you are coming as a tourist, never impose your views, your opinions, your judgments on the local culture. If you are a host, don't impose your local views, your judgments onto the guest who has come to your village. Share it politely, pleasantly. Tell him this is our tradition, sir, this is our culture, madam. If they would like to do it, well and good. If they don't do it, no issues. Don't make it mandatory. Don't trouble your guest. Are we clear on that? Right. Next, rural communities should be having equal beneficiary through tourism and minimal damages to the socio-cultural structure. Most important thing, as I told you here, the dependency of agriculture is there because revenue generates in the rural areas only through agriculture. And it is our responsibility to create a sense of pride. As I told you at the start of this session, dignity of labor, changing of the nomenclature. Please inform your students, everybody, to say that my father is not a farmer, my father is an agriculturist. Know the difference, right? See the sense of pride when I say my father is an agriculturist. There's a sense of pride in it. So that is why they should feel a sense of pride when they tell about their parents' profession, especially in the rural areas and where India is an agricultural economy. It is benefits a lot of youngsters, the youth, and there is a hope for social change. Hope for social change will start ushering in when people have got increased tolerance level for different cultures, different traditions, different customs. Understanding it from a different perspective, maybe from a global perspective. A lot of youngsters who are watching these videos, watching this video, what are the global employers looking at? They are looking at as a global manager. What are the managerial skills you have to become a global manager? How do you address that? So that is why, my dear friends, it is very important to develop a very simple skill called empathy and listening skills. This will help you in the long run. Now let us do a simple activity, maybe along with your classmate, along with your partner. Please do a case study on tourism practices in West Bengal. West Bengal, definitely like any other part of India, very rich in heritage and culture. So you have to talk to your Babu Moshai next to understand West Bengal in its true form. Visit your nearest village, talk to them, understand them. If possible, please learn the local language. What stops you from learning a local language? I have seen many people, especially the Indians, when they migrate from one part of India to the other, they don't learn the local language. They think they can manage just with English and the official language called Hindi. It is very important to, mingle with the local people, local culture, local tradition. I'm not imposing it, I'm just requesting it. So it makes your process, it makes your living better, your interactivity better, your interpersonal skills better. So you have to practice that. So you have to understand that. Maybe you meet a particular person, a Punjabi person, you have to say Sat Sri Akal, Papa ji Sat Sri Akal, very good, why not? You meet a Gujarati person, Kem Cho, Majama, simple thing. You meet a person from Tamil Nadu, Vanakkam sir. You meet a person from Karnataka, you say Chenna Egidara. See, it creates a connectivity between one human being to the another. I'm not saying you have to be an expert in that local language, at least some basics, at least the simple greetings, understanding the different festivals, different cultures. That is why it is important to change our attitude towards other tradition, culture, different states. Definitely, whichever state you belong to, you should take pride in it, but at the same time, my dear friend, do not impose anything that my state is only the greatest. That's where all the wars have begun. Fine, your state is good, my state is also good. Your state is great, my state is also great. That is the kind of spirit that we should develop. That is the spirit of India. Respect each other. Respect each other's tradition, culture, everything. Do not impose the superiority of one particular tradition on others. More the languages you learn, more better it is for you. More we are able to get connected. Isn't it? Think about it. Here, I would like to say a simple thing on languages, which has been quoted in Hindi. हर एक भाषा अपने आप में परिपूर्ण होता है. Every language is complete in its own self. It is up to you if you really want to learn it. Here, I am going to tell you certain important aspects. What are the impacts, socio-cultural impacts of rural tourism? One is acculturation. Acculturation is a process of adaptation and adjustment. It is the change that one's culture has on another. When local people entertain tourists, they adapt to tourists' needs, attitudes and values, ultimately start following them. That is, one culture is having an impact on other culture. So that is why this is what we need to understand. This classic example I can say of this is the British era in India, and especially the British people. Why did they create all the hill stations? Because they were not acclimatized to staying in the hot weathers in central India. Their weather is different. That is why for their own needs they have created these hill stations across the country. They have built the railways around it for their own trade purposes. But today we have inherited that. Right? Next important is cultural commodification. Be careful, my dear friends. I am trying to tell you a very sensitive topic. Cultural commodification. Cultural commodification results in the transformation of value from sacred to profane and from real to unauthentic, reconstructed ethnicity. The actual and sacred significance of a ritual or a tradition loses meaning even to those who had been following them religiously. This endangers the social customs of the community. You have gone to one particular place, a rural place, they have got certain traditions and cultures. The moment you say this is not correct, has to be done like this, they are trying to change it according to your needs. That is what we call it as cultural commodification. They are changing it. Reconstructed ethnicity. That is one, the impacts that will be there of part of this rural tourism. Next, we have this demonstration effect. The demonstration effect is the occurrence of rural communities and cultures adopting the Western style and behavior that they have observed in visiting tourists through its interaction. They think that is the in thing to do, fine. In thing, the word is in thing. So that is what we call it as demonstration effect. Next thing, standardization of cultural tourist areas means bringing recognizable features such as food, hotels, movies, and to exotic destination to make tourists feel comfortable in their surroundings. Definitely tourists who comes from different places would like to have their kind of a food. Definitely would like to visit your village, but once in a while or sometimes he is accustomed to certain type of food. And not only that, the kind of medicines in case of any healthcare needs, some senior citizens who come in, women who come in, the young women who come in, they need certain types of medicines that is required. So it is all the job of our host who has to take care of their needs. Before somebody enters your village, it is very important that you note down the preliminary things that they want at that place. Maybe generally we say bread and breakfast hotels. During the bread and breakfast hotels, what is it they would like to have? Maybe they would like to have a bread, bun, butter, jam, toast, standard things which is available. Maybe typically somebody who wants an idli, dosa, vada or paratha. So whatever the particular tradition is there, before you really offer it to your guest, tell them what is the content of it. Tell them what is the kind of, typically the food taste it will be. So you have to tell them how they should eat it also. That is also a very important aspect. Then comes staged authenticity. What is staged authenticity? In tourism setting seems to discourage modern tourists to search for authentic experiences. Here, what I am saying about staged authenticity is when a particular tourist comes to a particular local area, a particular tourist spot, what they try to say is to not to experience that place in its true form. That is what we call it as staged authenticity. Typically, well, let's say that a foreigner who comes in, we receive them properly and we treat him properly everywhere, but we try to create everything according to his needs, but he will never be seeing what is the real India, how the real India is. So do not try to change it. Yes, it is there. So we have to be very careful about this staged authenticity too. What are the benefits of rural tourism? As we have discussed in length, I'll still share it with you. As we said, agriculture in India is very, very seasonal. It is divided as Kharif and Rabi seasons. So most of the Indian households, especially in the rural area, they are financially stressed. Financial obligations is very, very heavy. The loans, the crop loans that they have taken. Recently, few years back, the government of India has also started giving crop insurance and everything to avoid becoming to see that the agriculturists avoid becoming financially stressed. So that is where here what we say is promotion of rural tourism will help them gain additional income. It will help them gain better access to the government services. So rural tourism really helps the people at grassroots levels. What happens here in the rural area is they have got small tiny land holdings. They try to mortgage it. They try to raise a crop around it. They sometimes take the land for a lease kind of a thing for a year or two. Whatever the produce comes, the major produce is taken by the main landlord. So this particular thing needs to be understood to understand India at its grassroots level. What are the farming practices, especially from the financial part of it? You have to visit a lot of rural banking people, the rural bankers who worked in the rural aspect of it. They will add a lot of value, especially people who are staying in rural India. Meet your banker, understand what are the schemes that are available for you. They will be explaining it to you. Please meet your district collectors. They will be explaining what are the central government schemes that are there, what are your state government schemes that are there to benefit you. Maybe the person, the agriculturist who is working in the fields, he does not have time to go there. But his children who are studying in different schools, different colleges, different universities, can you make an action plan with the help of your NSS department to meet your concerned banker, to meet the concerned district collector, to meet NABARD? These are all the pillars which are there for support of our rural agriculturists. It is the youth that have to take the initiative. So that's why I am saying, my dear friends, rural tourism, starting with rural entrepreneurship, you can be a tour operator, you can be an operator hotel, you can start a small rural homestays, you can be a tourist guide, get certified from the Ministry of Tourism. Definitely, we are not saying you are getting a huge income. Scope is there, but some additional income that is coming into your pocket is welcome. That's important. Here, I would like to do an activity. I would requesting you to do an activity along with your partner. Please do a case study on Jallikattu, which is the cultural identity in Tamil Nadu. To understand what is Jallikattu, what is the impact, do a case study on that. How important, how it is internalized in the Indian culture, especially in the Tamil culture. Now, the next benefit which we are saying, especially for the people who are there, who are staying in urban areas, if you move to the rural areas aspect of it, just as part of somewhere closer to your urban area where you are residing, it will help you understand the perspective of human life there, different perspective. Lot of young children, young parents who are there, who are educating their children in the best of the schools, international schools. I request them once in a while, especially the teachers who are teaching there, take your children to the rural side of India, expose them to that particular aspects, let them understand the different aspects of human life, how people live there also. Now you know very well, staying in urban areas, we are always linked, our life runs and ends with a smartphone, internet. Definitely India is very well connected from north to south, east to west with Wi-Fi connectivity. Here I would say that one of the best and ideal places who can be your fantastic teacher is your local postman. Your postman in the local area can teach you so many things. Invite him to your classroom. Invite him to your university room. He will tell you, because he is meeting the people at the grassroots level. What are the issues that are concerned? That requires your immediate attention, your effort. We cannot resolve everything, but you can start off somewhere. Start talking to your postman. I hope most of your houses, especially in urban areas, sanitation guy comes and picks up the trash that you leave for a day or for a week. How many of you know the name of that particular person who comes in the truck who picks up the sanitation from your house, whatever the dust that you collect and put it in the dust bags? Have you inquired any time about it? Have you inquired about him or her, about their welfare, how their kids are doing? I am sure most of you are doing it, but I am requesting you, start thinking for those who have not done. That is the first step. Especially all the teachers who are teaching in a lot of international schools, my humble request to each one of you, please take your students once in a while to visit the villages. It will give a different dimension and different learning outcomes will come for the young students. Now, when the revenue of the villages, when they are having a taxation part of it, agricultural practices, we are going to talk about minimum support prices that is there. That plays a key role here in Indian agriculture. So you have to understand the different aspects that plays into this role. When you are reading it, I request all of you to study the farmers' bill that has been presented in the parliament. Read it, understand it. what are the different aspects that has come into the place, how it can be made better. Make the process always better. That is the thing. There are certain positive issues, there are certain negative issues. Work on it. We as Indians, we have to work on it to make the process better. How the entire rural tourism helps is, we are talking about Gram Swaraj. That's what was the vision of Gandhiji. Gram is a village, Swaraj is they take their decisions on their own. That is why your Panchayat Raj department plays a key role. The state government Panchayat Raj department plays a key role in the development of your villages and especially on rural tourism. And not only the state Panchayat Raj Ministry, even the Union Ministry of Panchayat Raj, Rural Ministry of Rural Development. We are all working together in an integrated way to make rural India a better, safe place and most importantly, best place for destination, tourists. So that is what we need to work on. Here we will be watching a video on e-Chowpal which was started by ITC. This video is, I have taken it from YouTube. This is around 11 years back, this particular video is old. But you see the kind, when you see the video, the kind of initiative ITC company has taken to go to the rural areas, empower the farmers, empower the agriculturists there. See that their income levels are increasing. It's a fantastic video, my dear friends. Watch it. Then definitely we'll discuss about the video in other issues.
A new day is dawning in India, built on the bricks of boundless possibilities, connected across the farthest corners, where future-forward technologies are addressing our most critical development needs, where the power to steer our dreams lies in the palm of our very own hands. India lives in its farmlands, in the fragrance of the earth and the rippling vistas of its fields. These farmlands have steered the nation to food security. Now, technology is taking the revolution further. With nearly 60% of its workforce engaged in agriculture, India's fortunes depend on those who work the land. Now, an innovative technology solution is putting the power of agribusiness back where it belongs, in the hands of the farmer. Introducing e-Chowpal, the world's largest rural digital infrastructure, conceived and instituted by the Indian corporate group ITC Limited. It is driving technology into the heart of nation's farmlands, empowering small farmers by providing access to information, from best practices to market prices, products and weather updates, etc. It is modernizing traditional agriculture by increasing efficiency and speeding up the supply, demand and delivery chain. Village MGNCRE in central India is one of the 6,500 Chowpals or village kiosks across 40,000 villages, catering to 4 million farmers. Here, digital technology is interwoven with the ground realities of the country. When farmers like Kishore Singh walk in, they are greeted by a sanchalak or facilitator from his own farming community, trained to operate the e-Chowpal system. Today, Kishore Singh has a few basic queries about the market prices of his crop, soya bean. A few clicks of the mouse and the web-enabled computerized network provides Kishore Singh with the current prices of soya bean at which he can sell his crop. For Kishore Singh, the e-Chowpal eliminates several levels of middlemen and standardizes processes, allowing him to make profits that have more than doubled in under a decade. Thanks to the scientific farming techniques, he has learned from E. Chopal.
मेरी आय जो पहले थी वो कमी थी, ई चौपाल के आने से मेरी आमदनी में बढ़त हुई। हमें भाव का पता चलने के कारण हम बिचौलिए लोगों से बचे हुए रहते हैं।
But the E. Chopal project is not restricted to a single kiosk. Welcome to Chopal Sagar, an agri-mall for integrated rural services. Here, farmers select from a whole range of agri-products on display, store their produce, or lease agricultural equipments like tractors. They can avail of services like soil testing, which is conducted in state-of-the-art labs by trained technicians. Farmers can also attend farmer training programs conducted by agriculture and animal husbandry experts. The Chopal Sagar is a one-stop shop that meets all the needs of a rural Indian community.
किसानों की जिंदगी में ई चौपाल के माध्यम से बहुत बड़ा बदलाव आया है, क्योंकि किसानों को मौसम संबंधी जानकारी, कृषि संबंधी जानकारी, स्वास्थ्य संबंधी जानकारी कंप्यूटर के माध्यम से किसानों को मिलती है।
12 years since the E-Chopal's inception, entire agricultural communities have experienced significant economic turnarounds. A turnaround that has translated into additional benefits like women's empowerment, conservation, watershed development, supplementary education and much more. With technology evolving, the E-Chopal initiative takes its next step into mobile telecommunication.
The solution that we have deployed is something that will actually keep the farmers, despite being small, in a manner that they can be competitive globally. And that's through the electronic means, through linking markets directly. So irrespective of the size of the farmers, they can compete in the global world is the vision for 2020.
As the digital revolution sweeps across India's farms, it brings a new wave of hope for farmers like Kishore Singh. Now thanks to E. Chopal, the winds of change are finally blowing his way.
The last part of the unit, that is we are calling about rural tourism in the states of northeast of India. This region, having 8 states with 7.98% of country's landmass and 3.76% of country's total population, is primarily rural. Northeast is primarily rural. More than 81% of the region's population is the inhabitants of rural areas. The basic thread of the state tourism policy is to tap the alternative avenues of development and upliftment of living conditions and increase the income of rural inhabitants and promoting rural tourism in different aspects of the 8 states of Northeast, which is lying untapped. As I said, which is lying untapped. Northeast can be tapped in a very big way, and I am sure all the educators, all the youngsters who are watching this video, especially from Northeast should lead the way in rural tourism. I am sure it is going to do, it is already doing it also. Now, different states of Northeast. I have asked so many of students in different parts of the country, please name the 8 states of Northeast. I am sure even you ask many others also, I am sure they will not be able to retain it. Not even 4 or 5 states they will tell, and they confuse it with other names. I have developed a simple way of it. I told them, I have taught to many students also in other parts of the country, simple way to 8 states. These 8 states were earlier called as 7 sisters of the Northeast. The 8th state that has been included is Sikkim. And today we are calling, the government of India is calling it as Ashtalakshmi. The Northeast is called as Ashtalakshmi, 8 states. Now how to remember that 8 states? First, there are 2 A's, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, right? Then comes, if you are in Guwahati from Assam, you have to go to Meghalaya, M. Then comes Meghalaya, Manipur, Mizoram. 2 A's, 3 M's. Then after that, we have got a code called STN. S for Sikkim, T for Tripura, N for Nagaland. Simple. How to remember the 8 states of Northeast? And each state has got its own unique tradition, its own culture. The people there are very warm, very receptive. And there is huge, as just now I shared with you about the Hornbill Festival there. You have to really visit that place to understand its different dimension, people there, its culture, its food, fantastic. So that's why, my dear friend, I am just sharing some. You have to know the tourist spots, Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh. Awesome. It's must visit. If you are in Arunachal Pradesh, please visit Tawang. Then we have got different Assam, Guwahati. We are talking about Kamakya temple there. Very, very strong, very historically old temple, Kamakya temple. Then Kaziranga, wildlife sanctuary, don't miss it. Meghalaya, tourism policy, fantastic. You have to visit Shillong. It's got fantastic, beautiful northeastern universities is there. Visit all these places, you'll understand the people there. Manipur also has a lot of attractive cultural attractions, particularly monuments and archaeological aspects of it. Manipur is very strong in archaeological aspects. So that is why its handloom, handicrafts is very, very famous. Mizoram tourism policy underlines suitability of ecotourism. Mizoram focuses more on ecotourism, and it offers a lot of opportunity to showcase the state's unique natural and associated cultural heritage. The natural heritage is still maintained, preserved properly, and if you visit a Mizoram, you'll know. And talking to Mizo people, it's a different place altogether. It's a different plane altogether. Sikkim, Gangtok. That's a place which focuses on promotion of rural tourism. It has got its own culture. It's very, very vibrant, and it has got a diverse culture. The Tripura's tourism policy is focused again on ecotourism and also on the abundance of natural resources there. That is where we need to understand. Sikkim, let me tell you, there's a village development council in Gangtok and above the hilly parts of there. They call it a Zoomsa, where maybe my pronunciation is not correct, but still I would say it's Zoomsa. If you say Zoomsa, the village development council decides that what is good for their village. They give a lot of importance to that. And when I was visiting this particular place, most of the places in Northeast, especially in Gangtok, they don't honk. Noise pollution. They stay, and there's a lot of penalty, and they take it very seriously. Everything is on a hilly road, but everybody is back to back standing on a hilly road, but nobody honks. As simple as that, learning. And let me tell you, when I was in Gangtok, I saw a big quotation, the painting on a wall, which stayed with me. And let me tell you, it really, I cannot say touch, it hit me very hard. And the quotation which is there is a man who's picking up the trash. I repeat, listen to this very carefully. It takes an illiterate, it takes an uneducated to lift the trash of educated. See that? It takes an uneducated to lift the trash of the educated. So my dear friends, whenever you are visiting any of these particular areas, please do not pollute it. The people there, everyone, they are making a lot of efforts to receive you. So it is our responsibility to become a responsible tourist, especially we are visiting any location, not only in India, abroad also. But don't take things for granted. Now, let us do a simple activity. Please go to the Ministry of Tourism's website, Government of India's website, and do an activity. Understand what are the best parts in that particular website, how the website can be improved, and definitely put in a mail directly to the Ministry of Tourism, and definitely put in a mail to our Honorable Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji. So put it there that I have seen your website, what are the feedbacks, what best you can do for your own village areas. I am sure it will be noted, it will be recognized. I hope you are all watching the Man Ki Baat videos where Prime Minister is saying that, a lot of videos, he is identifying different people from the rural areas who are doing a real true service to the nation, and he is recognizing them. So that's why, my dear friend, please do this activity on the Government of India's tourism website and give your feedback. Now, what needs to be done to boost rural tourism? Tell me, what are the things that we should do to boost rural tourism? That is an important topic. So first thing which we are saying is the rural tourism destination should be specific and nearer to the places where people usually visit. See, the distance from the rural and urban areas are this thing, accessibility, the roads are better, facilities in case of any emergency situations, nearest healthcare facilities are available. Most of the people who visit these sites, they prefer sustainability and homes that are made with traditional style. People who are visiting these rural areas, they want to visit the rural villages. The rural, exactly the traditional way how the houses were built during that time. If you visit in certain rural parts of Kerala, the rural parts of East Godavari and West Godavari districts, and definitely in certain parts of other parts of India, Maharashtra also, still the houses that have been constructed still are being preserved. So that's what people want to experience it. People have modern buildings, best of the modern buildings, best of the modern architecture everywhere in the globe, in most of the urban areas. But slowly and slowly the rural architecture is getting into oblivion. Shouldn't we not protect it? Shouldn't we not understand it? Kindly do not put down the rural architecture. Yes, it has got its own certain flaws, but it has got its own strengths. Let us understand that. Correct? Yeah. For sustainable rural development of the state, government has to play a crucial role. Whichever state you are in, my dear friends, please meet the concerned Ministry of Tourism, and tell them what is it that you want, what kind of support you want from the Minister for Tourism. Give him a proper action plan, give her an action plan. See that they are also becoming equally participative. Maybe start with that particular minister's village itself. Why not? Think about it, my dear friends. This is what we have to do. We have to work proactively. Do not get your assumptions and judgments to cloud what best you can do. You can deliver the best. Believe in it. Then comes very important thing is negative impact of tourism. When tourists flood one particular areas, there's a lot of negativity that flows in. That is especially for the environmental aspects, especially the beaches are flooded with plastic. I need not emphasize what happens in Goa's beaches. You know it better than me. The state government of Goa and its Minister for Tourism, they are making a lot of efforts. But how much can government do? What about the people? What are we doing about it? So please understand, do not compromise the existing ecosystem of that particular tourist place where you are going. Example of this is beaches in Goa and Pondicherry and damage to the forest ecosystems in popular destinations in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. In fact, many hill stations face acute water shortage in summer months because of tourism activity much more than potential of these places. Classic example is Udagamandalam, Ooty. People are shifting them, although they are stepping into Ooty just to watch it, the original one, but they are preferring to go to Kunur, Kotagiri, other nearby areas. That is where the real tourism should bloom. I take pride in informing you, the district collector of there, Mrs. Divya Innocent, she has taken the initiative to stop usage of plastic in the entire Nilgiris district. Most of the district collectors have done it in their own places. So I request all of you to see that whichever place that you are going or you are resident of that particular place, see that these negative impacts of tourism does not happen. Request the tourist politely. So that is where it is very, very important to understand all these aspects, the positive impacts and the negative impacts on our tourism part of it. Overdevelopment is also a curse in a way. So we need to plan it out properly with the urban planners or the rural planners. What is the level of inflow of tourists would you like to have? So that is where the constant monitoring is very, very important. And a lot of vehicles going there, increasing the air pollution, all these things, noise pollution. That's why I was sharing about Gangtok. Honking, non-stop honking. Yes, there will be traffic jams. There are landslides in hill areas. Traffic will be stopped for long periods of time. If the road itself was vacant, why will the guy stay in front? He'll not stay. He'll like to move. Just for that, would you like to honk? And you know, in the whichever urban areas you are staying, the kind of honking that we do. Do we give way when an ambulance comes in? Do we move to the left when an ambulance comes in? Examples of exploitation of non-renewable tourism resources range from a small fishing village in India's Kerala state. Kerala, again, God's own country. It is having its own population. It is saying it's having its own issues, which saw a tourist sector collapse after 2 decades. Kerala was one of the fastest growing states in tourism, rural tourism especially, but suddenly there was a downfall. Why? Because of inadequate disposal of solid waste. Too much of solid waste was being collected. How much can the government of Kerala can do it? What is the responsibility as a tourist? What is my responsibility as a host? So it is our responsibility to see that this kind of disposal of solid waste, liquid waste is done properly. Help your concerned municipal administration, help your Gram Panchayat to segregation of waste. Waste segregation is a very important activity that you need to believe, that you need to carry out, that you need to emphasize starting from your schools, colleges, universities. The waste segregation is not done properly at any of these places. I am talking even in urban areas. Many hill stations and beaches in India are moving towards the life cycle is getting, saturated. They would like to go for the newer places. That needs to be marketing. That is where the rural tourism comes in. You need to market the new places better in an effective way. How should we promote sustainable rural tourism? Very important aspect. Sustainable rural tourism and its promotion. First and foremost step is to preservation of a traditional culture. Whichever the rural place in India we are talking about, we have to preserve the traditional culture. The income generated from tourism should be utilized in preserving the ethnic art forms. The money generated by the tourist, it should not go directly into the central treasury. It should be going into the concerned district treasury such that the concerned district collector can see that, to develop the ethnic forms of art, dance, folk or handicrafts. So the tourist inflow, the cash inflow that comes from the tourist visits should go back to the same local areas development. That is the first part of the promoting sustainable rural tourism. The second aspect is India's 7 wildlife habitats fall in remote areas. Ecotourism can help in preventing further degradation of forest, and we have to protect the wildlife, which everybody is telling. The worldwide United Nations, everywhere saying we have to protect the wildlife. Third important is involve community development and involvement in sustainable tourism. The local community should be involved in all the development activities. Why? Because they know their area better. They love their area. They love their villages. We have to work along with them. We have to work with them. That is the crucial aspect. You are not there to teach them how they should live. Can you be with them? Can you sail along with them? Can there be a knowledge sharing between you and the villages? Understand this aspect, and it is very crucial, my dear friend, in promoting sustainable rural tourism. The fourth important promotion is non-intrusive tourism, meaning those coming from outside should not hurt the host cultural, religious and social ethos of the locals. You come from a different culture, different tradition and this thing. When you go to that particular area, you cannot say this is how we do it in our area, this is how we are more superior to you. No, not acceptable. Best way is, oh, this is your area, this is your tradition, Achha, this is the same way we do it, but we do it in a different way. I would like to know more from your area. That approach, human approach, empathetic approach, without intruding into their lifestyle, their culture, their tradition. Accept it as they are. Accept it as they are. Do not accept it as they should be. Know the difference. The fifth sustainable tourism should be poverty reduction strategy, which has been done by the 17 sustainable development goals proposed by United Nations. Poverty alleviation is a very important aspect as given by United Nations 17 sustainable development goals. The sixth thing is the backbone, the pillar of promoting sustainable rural tourism is the legislative backing for the tourism. That is the backing of the state government ministry for tourism, central government ministry, to see that different government agencies all work together in proper coordination especially with the locals, especially when the foreigner or the domestic tourists visit that particular place. In case some event happens, the local law and order, the police department, the legal people should be very, very proactive, should be citizen friendly. You have to develop that citizen friendly attitude to anyone, whether it is a local Indian or a foreigner too. That is where we promote sustainable rural tourism. With this, we have completed the chapter 1, the video lesson part of it. The next slide, which is clearly showing you the model questions, simple questions, it is there in the topic. I hope you have enjoyed this entire video session, the chapter 1. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.